Now, as a firefighter, I often get asked, like, well, aren't you scared? That job is dangerous. And yes, it is a dangerous job, but the biggest thing we do in the fire service is we manage risk. Sup, peeps? Fire Steve here, and I got a firefighter story time for you. Okay, so we attended a fully involved structure fire. So basically what that means is the whole structure up in flames. At this point, we're just doing exposure protection and knocking out that fire the best we can. Now, up here in Alberta, Canada, a lot of our homes are heated with natural gas. Now, whenever you've got natural gas, you're gonna have some sort of conveyance piping system and stuff like that that's gonna feed the natural gas into the home. That way it can, feed into your furnace, hot water tank, natural gas stove if you have it, etc. Now, what can happen and what did happen in this case is due to the fire, there was a natural gas leak because some of the equipment burned through, and now we have a natural gas fire on the side of the home while we're trying to put out the main fire. Now, in this instance, I was working on the other side of the house. Command came up to me and said, hey, we have a natural gas leak. The valve appears to be intact. Can I get you to go around and shut the valve so that way we can shut off the gas supply and knock out that gas fire? Now, this is basic. This is pretty familiar setup whenever we got natural gas coming into a home. So here's the piping that's coming up. You'll have the shutoff valve here. It'll go through a regulator, and then there's going to be a natural gas meter, which just meters how much gas you're using, and then of course the piping goes into the home. Now, what happened in this instance is that the meter had a component, because you've got a lot of plastic components there, it had melted through, so we had basically a jet stream of fire shooting out of this port right here. Now, luckily it was directed away from where the valve was, but yeah, so basically we have this jet stream of fire shooting out at us. Now, the question on everyone's mind is probably, well, Steve, why don't you just put out the fire, and then that way you don't have to worry about that jet stream of fire shooting out at you while you're trying to work. Now, the way we look at this is the devil you know is better than the one that you don't. Now, if that gas is burning, it's not accumulating. If we use water and we knock out that fire, then it's just gonna continue to vent gas out. Now, if it finds another ignition source, now we could have a major problem and have a bigger explosion due to all that gas accumulating around instead of it just safely burning off. Well, not super safe, but safer than letting it accumulate. So, like I said at the inset of the video, it's a dangerous job, but it's all about that risk mitigation, mitigating those dangers. Now, your typical quarter turn ball valve, and that's essentially what's on the natural gas piping where it comes out of the ground, will have a valve handle on it, except as you can see on these risers, there is no valve there. And this is just so nobody can inadvertently shut the gas off to somebody's home, causing, pipes to freeze due to the cold weather. But luckily, we got a tool for that. Now, this is a spanner wrench. This is what we use to tighten and break apart our hose connection fittings. But it also has this neat little groove here, this little slot. That fits over that lug, which can allow us to turn the valve on the gas riser. So that way we've always got a valve handle with us with our tools. Okay, so this thing here is shooting fire out of it. I gotta shut this valve handle to shut off the gas flow to the remainder of this. Now, I'm in full bunker gear, got all my PPE on, my breathing, SCBA, breathing apparatus, all that fun stuff. Now, I have another firefighter backing me up. He's got a hose line. As I'm going in to attempt to shut the valve, he's got that hose line to provide cooling, and also too, if something goes sideways, he can just kind of douse me with it. So I go in, bring my tool, and I'm attempting to shut this valve. Now, the issue being is this valve was seized, like it was locked solid. And I'm feeling the heat from this flame shooting in front of me, and I'm sitting there trying to reef on this thing, keeping in mind that I can't go too hard because this is plastic piping, like it's poly piping, it's not steel. This is all steel above here, but this is all kind of composite plastic lined pipe. So if I go too hard, I could accidentally snap this at ground level. Now we have no control. Then they're gonna have to shut off gas to the entire area instead of just to the one house. So as I'm reefing on this thing, I got one hand supporting the piping so that way I can kind of create a bit of leverage. Now, what I'm guessing happened is because of the heat, basically that valve seized up just because of that heat expansion. So after trying a couple tries, I've just told my partner with the hose line, I'm like, just hit the valve. Don't hit the rest of the fire, but hit the valve to cool it just that little bit. Once he hit it with the water, I went back, put my tool on, attempted again, and it moved a little bit. And then I just pushed as hard as I could, and then boom, shut the valve, all the fires stopped because now it had no more fuel. Now, after listening to all of that, people are probably like, how are you not scared? And there's always that thing in the back of your mind, knowing that like, okay, what if something does go sideways? But honestly, for anybody who is in the fire service, it's like, this is the fun stuff. I know, we're a little crazy. But anyway, we had enough mitigations in place. We had enough layers of protection. Even though it's a dangerous job and things could have gone sideways, we put enough layers of stuff in front of us to basically be like, okay, we can keep ourselves safe. We had a water line that would have provided immediate cooling. And also too, if it was bad enough, we could have used the water to create kind of like a water curtain. Or if it was really bad, then we just don't address it and we get gas utilities to shut off gas to the whole area, and then it's a lot safer to do. So that's how we mitigate some of these dangerous things that we do in this job. It's through just knowledge, training, and experience. So hopefully that this information, my story, was informative and gave you an idea into what we do in the fire service a little bit more. And as always, if you like this video, give it a like. If you know people that would enjoy this type of content, share it out to them. And as always, if you want to see more of this type of content on firefighting stuff and stories and stuff of that nature, follow along for more. Have a safe one, everyone.